What's up, Nellie? I'm in Spain. We just went to Pakistan. Now we're in Michigan. What's up?
Hey, I just hooked up a new microphone. Is it working?
It works great. You sound super good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, everything's good in Michigan. Nice and cold. It is spooky season. It's spooky season.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
excited.
That's right. Halloween's coming up. That's true. That's true. We only got a few more weeks. All right. So you want to share your screen, Nellie? Jump right in.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay. Oop, got push the button.
It's okay. By the way, shameless plug, but just so everybody knows, Nellie and I are hosting a show on Cloud Native TV. We just did our first episode. It's called Art as Code, where we're talking about the intersection of art and technology. We haven't got the next episode planned. It'll be after KubeCon, but you definitely want to check that out, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And I'll be quiet. It's all you.
Okay. Um, Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. And all you students are amazing, and it's so great to be a part of this. So I'm going to do a talk. It's going to be diving in the deep end. I'm Nellie Tobey. I am a product success engineer at Jellyfish. And the reason I developed this, at first I was doing a project to get Django and Docker working together and get them working so that I could put them into a Minikube Kubernetes thing. And I realized that I've been coding into the void. I've been coding on my own and learning on my own for like 4 years. And there's a lot of little things that I've picked up over the years that I think would be really useful to other students. So diving into something new. This could be art, this could be code, this could be anything new or challenging or complex you're getting ready to tackle. The things to remember, we all started as beginners, all of us. We all had to start somewhere, and that's just keep that in reminder. If like when you're reaching out to other people and when you're doing things, we all had to start at the beginning. New things can be scary. That's it's part of the process. They can be scary, and the fear can be a good thing. You don't want to go into your terminal and type RM negative RC. You don't want to type in things without being cautious. But so that's just a part of it, and that's okay. Errors are your friend. Errors are your friend, and I'll cover this a little bit, couple more slides. You can learn a ton from errors. They're amazing. And failures lead to growth. All the errors, all the failures, all the things you encounter as you're learning a new thing help you to do them better step after step after step. So failures lead to growth, and that's a good thing. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay, other things to remember when you're learning online. It's something I encountered when I was doing my little experiment with Django and Docker. There are knowledge assumptions, there are prior setup assumptions, and there's hierarchical knowledge that sometimes when the people writing the blogs or writing the tutorial, when they put them online, and it's not malicious at all, but a lot of times when people have been doing a certain knowledge base or a certain skill for a really long time, they kind of forget like the beginning. They forget that they didn't know these computer science terms when they started. So that's something to remember, because like with my experience, my crap, my my phone. I was doing the setup, and the blog, the tutorial thing wanted me to use Postgres. I've never used Postgres. I had no idea how to use Postgres. And these it had me setting that up. Let me turn this phone off. Okay. So that's something to remember, because they didn't explain any of the Postgres. So it stalled me out for a little while. Experiment, and experiment some more. Learning is cumulative. Everything you learn stacks. It keeps going and going. So you learn this in Python, the next thing you learn in Python, the next thing you learn in Python, you switch to a whole different language to learn. All those things you learned about Python going into like JavaScript, for example, they're cumulative. They help you. So all that learning, it's good. And experiment. Do little experiments, do big experiments. But the little ones can be just as good for your learning, adding on to your learning as the rest of them. Errors are your friends. Here's this bit. There is a ton of stuff in here in this little screenshot. And if I were to deep dive into those, I could find a lot of information that I could add to my knowledge base, which is a great thing. Errors are your friends. Well, when they're good errors. So you can learn a lot just from looking at the errors and finding the things you need to do. Like with this, I couldn't get Postgres to work. It wasn't working right. I ended up switching over to the default Django database to get it working. But that was a part of the process. The error was my friend. It helped me see what was going wrong. What do you do when you're stuck? These are things too that I learned along the way. Take a break. This is a big one because sometimes your brain needs a soft reset. Sometimes it's grinding so hard at an issue that you're trying to solve that it'll get stuck. It'll clam up and you need to just give it a break. Another thing that I didn't add in the slide that got me today again, it's always a typo. Always check for typos first because you wrote this code, you know it should work. It should work. It's probably a typo. Always check for typos first. Google Foo. Your search engine will learn from you. It will curate your list as you go and as you grow and as you become better at searching, your results will become better. So if you're stuck, try different things in that Google search engine. Maybe you just need to change the keywords it's trying to find. Rubber ducking. This is a process where you put a little rubber duck by your computer. And when you're trying to work through something and you're stuck, you talk to it. It seems silly, but it works. I don't know how many times I went to type out a question I had to someone, and it occurred to me as I was typing out the question, what the heck the solution was. Ask your community. The Data on Kubernetes community is an amazing place, and especially when you're tackling something like Kubernetes. It is huge, it is complex, it can be overwhelming. Don't be afraid to ask when you're stuck. We're all really friendly people. Some of us really want to share it. Some of us have questions, same as you, and it would be great if you asked the question so we didn't have to. So don't be afraid to ask your community. Take the wins. I got this little project working finally, and it didn't go exactly how the blog or the tutorial went, but I got it working, even though I hit some snags and I got some stuff wrong, and I went right to Twitter and shared it because I'm taking the win. I got this to work, and that's cool, and I should be able to celebrate that, and you should celebrate your wins too. The DoK community. Like I said, this is a place where you can go and meet other people that may be struggling or having the same learning experience you are, and it's a great place. The experiment I did, the reason it was important is because once I got into the database part, I had to think about stateful versus stateless if I was actually going to get an app running up online. DoK community, that's a lot of the focus in there. So it's a great place. It's friendly for beginners and experts alike. We have beginners in there. We have students in there. I'm a student. And we're all there, and we all want to be a part of this really cool community. So come join us. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the students for making this happen. This is amazing.
Awesome. Can't ask for more than that. I think everyone, this was so honest and so practical. Some of the stuff that folks are talking about, that errors are really the best teachers because that's how we learn how to do things correctly. Don't take anything personally. And also celebrating the wins. I feel like we don't do that enough. And particularly like in 2021, which is a challenging year, very similar to 2020. I think we really take it where you can get it and be happy and celebrate it. And do it collectively. I think that's, like you said, whether it's in Twitter, in a community, or things like that, those are really, really good points. Someone's also asking about Art as Code. So, Nellie, could you just give your summary really quickly about what Art as Code is about?
Okay, Art as Code. There's a lot of people that, when you look around into the tech communities, that have these other skill sets, these other arts that they do. Craftsmen, musicians, cooks, artists, painters. And the idea is to bring in people and show that there's more to tech than just code. There's a whole lot of amazing things going on with people, and people are the important bit in tech. And we want to bring people in, let them talk about their art, and just really enjoy that aspect of code and art, because they really do go hand in hand in so many ways.
Absolutely. And so that's what we're talking about. Are we talking about an art, or is coding, is it an art or a science? I think, just yesterday in the live stream that we had with two wonderful people, they were really stressing the fact of how artistic it can be. That if you see code, don't let the word beautiful not be in your vocabulary in terms of how you describe it. You can use, people talk also about code smells and things like that. But when you're looking at these kind of things that seemingly look maybe dry and very, once again, technical by nature, that there's actually a lot of personal touches that people can put in there, that they're channeling their own passions and their own kind of interests. And then as you mentioned, there are tons of people in this space that are doing lots of other things that have nothing to do with tech, but actually they do have a lot to do with it, which is what we saw in our first episode that we did with Lorraine from Timescale, who's an expert in collage and has been doing lots of kinds of art her whole life. So anyway, this is something that Nellie and I are starting, and we don't plan on stopping. So you will definitely be able to see more episodes of Art as Code on the Cloud Native TV. Right now it's being called KubeCon TV, but you can find it either way. It's on Twitch. Hopefully the passwords weren't leaked like all the other stuff that was leaked on Twitch. But that's a different question, not my problem. Anyway, anyway, Nellie, thank you very much for your talk. This is, as usual, 10 out of 10.